Niki Lauda was born into a wealthy Austrian family in Vienna on February 22, 1949. Lauda dreamed of becoming an F1 racer. However, Lauda's family strongly disapproved of his driving ambitions, refusing to help him financially and eventually losing contact altogether. Despite this, he would work his way up the racing ranks, using bank loans to support his races. Lauda was known as the computer because of his controlled and careful style. In 1974, he began to work for Enzo Ferrari, who hadn't had a championship in nearly 10 years. It paid off when Lauda became a world champion for Ferrari in 1975. Lauda, the defending champion, dominated the start of the 1976 F1 season, winning 4 of the first 6 races and finishing second in the other 2. By the time of his 5th win of the year at the British Grand Prix, he had more than double the points of his closest challenger, James Hunt, and a second consecutive world championship appeared a formality. It would be a feat not achieved since 1960. He also looked set to win the most races in a season, a record held by the late Jim Clark since 1963. However, on August 1, 1976, during the second lap of the German Grand Prix, Lauda was involved in a horrific accident where his Ferrari swerved off the track, hit an embankment, and burst into flames with Lauda still trapped in the wreckage. By the time Lauda was dragged from the car, he had suffered severe burns and inhaled deadly amounts of toxic fumes, damaging his lungs and blood. Arriving at the hospital, he was not expected to survive and was given his last rites. "I was at one stage so bad that I knew I was going to die now," he said. "I was seeing myself falling backwards into a black hole. I'm dying. What can I do? Let's listen to the doctor. Let's stay awake. Don't fall unconscious. Keep your brain working." This, I think, was essential to staying alive. Lauda suffered extensive scarring from the burns to his head, losing most of his right ear, as well as the hair on the right side of his head, his eyebrows, and his eyelids. Enzo Ferrari, the team owner, expected Lauda to retire from Formula One, so he went about replacing him for the season, only for Lauda to calmly explain to the surprise of the media and his team that he had a contract, and not only would he not retire, but he would continue the season as he had a world title to defend. On the first day back at practice, his facial burns were still raw, and he was in severe pain every time he donned and removed his helmet. He later admitted that not only was he in severe pain, but deep down, he was now petrified of racing. Back at his hotel after practice, he mentally regrouped, facing his inner fear and pulling himself together. By the time he sat back in the cockpit the next day, he was a new man. Lauda was back. Just 6 weeks after the accident, he raced the Italian Grand Prix, finishing 4th, despite being, by his own admission, absolutely petrified. After the race, F1 journalists saw Lauda in the pits, peeling the blood-soaked bandages from his scarred scalp. For the rest of the season, Lauda battled it out with his rival James Hunt, who by the Japanese Grand Prix, the last race of the season, was just 3 points behind Lauda in the championship standings. Everything hung on the last race. Lauda needed to earn 2 points fewer than Hunt, or better, to claim the championship. Lauda had qualified 3rd, 1 place behind Hunt. Both had dreams of winning the championship title, but only one of them could take it.
Electric tension here at Fuji. 80,000 bedraggled race fans and the racing grudge match of the decade. And there's Mario Andretti in pole position, James Hunt alongside him. On row 2 of the grid, there is Niki Lauda. And they're off. Clouds of spray, James Hunt is edging into the lead. That first corner could be very dodgy.
On race day, there was torrential rain. After 2 laps, Lauda's eyes were watering excessively because of his fire-damaged tear ducts and inability to blink. Due to the unsafe conditions, Lauda made the tough decision to retire from the race.
Lauda is in the pits. There's a conference, a cockpit conference going on there. He's heading right into the cockpit.
Hunt came in 3rd, thus winning the title by a single point.
What a finish! Our new world champion, James Hunt, by just 1 single point.
The 1976 championship was not to be for Lauda. However, despite his lifelong injuries, he continued on, recapturing the championship the very next year in 1977 and again in 1984.